Hey there, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Happy Monday. It is June 10th, and I hope you had a great weekend. In this video, we're going to be discussing X's Grok. I asked it today, which MJ companies have the highest chance of reaching blue chip status? And if you have been following me on this channel for a while now, I've been talking about the blue chip phase and how we're more than likely not going to get into that phase until we have full-blown legalization at the federal level in the United States. And I'll discuss what exactly blue chip status is, and then we'll go over the response that we got from Grok as well. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And I really do like Grok, the new AI feature. So essentially, it's the same thing, a competitor to ChatGPT. So we'll go through what exactly is a blue chip. I know a lot of people already know this, but real quick, I do get some comments on my videos. What exactly do you mean by blue chip stocks? And if we go to Investopedia, you can see here, what is a blue chip stock? So a blue chip stock is a stock issued by a large, well-established, financially sound company with an excellent reputation. Normally, such companies have operated for many years, have dependable earnings, and usually pay dividends to investors. A blue chip company typically has a market capitalization in the billions. It's generally the market leader or among the top 3 companies in the sector, and more often than not is a household name. So as I mentioned, we're definitely not there in my opinion because we need the US to be full-blown legalization, right? There's so much growth ahead. How could we be in the blue chip phase? Usually blue chip comes after massive growth, right? In that growth curve. So how could we be in the blue chip phase if we don't have full-blown legalization at the federal level in the US and it's still illegal and on the same list as heroin on Schedule 1? We know that they're working to get it rescheduled to Schedule 3, and as of right now, there's over, I think, 11,000 comments last time I checked, and 97% of them have been positive, right? So in my opinion, that's a done deal. It's going to get either rescheduled or descheduled, but I think the most likely scenario is we get rescheduling to Schedule 3, and then we'll more than likely get some sort of movement on descheduling in the next couple of years after that. But I did ask Grok as well, has MJ reached the blue chip phase yet? So we'll get Grok's opinion and see whether or not, and then I'll jump into the names of the companies that it predicts could potentially reach that status. So I said, has MJ reached blue chip yet? And it said, well, it seems the green rush hasn't quite reached blue chip status yet, despite some big moves and mergers like the Chicago MJ company, Green Thumb, proposing a merger with Boston Beer, which is, they said, either collaboration or merger. That's some new information that came, so it's gonna be interesting. Kind of reminds me of like a Tilray, and them getting into the beverage business as well, buying 8 beer and beverage brands off of Anheuser-Busch, which is the maker of Budweiser. And Green Check verified landing a whopping $100 million in financing requests. The MJ industry still seems to be struggling to produce that investment high. It's like watching a plant grow. You water it, give it sunlight, and hope for the best. But sometimes it just takes a little longer for those buds to bloom into a full-fledged blue chip. So while the industry is certainly growing and evolving, it hasn't quite reached the level of stability and reliability that we associate with blue chip stocks. But hey, who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day MJ will be as common as the stock market as Coca-Cola and Apple. And as we know, Apple almost went bankrupt, right? In 1997, Microsoft invested $150 million. And if not for Microsoft investing that, Apple would have went bankrupt, right? They would have been probably just non-existent. And now today, Apple's worth more than Microsoft, right? And they weren't selling Schedule 1 illegal drugs, right? So you really have to factor that in on where we are. So getting right to it, which MJ companies have the highest chance of reaching blue chip status? I asked Grok. And Grok said, based on the information provided, there are several MJ companies that have the potential to reach blue chip status. Here are some of the top contenders. And let me know in the comment section below if you hold any of these, if you agree with this response, if you disagree, and then let me know why. I own every single one except for Trulieve. That's the only one I don't own, but I do own it indirectly through MSOS ETF. But a little bit of a spoiler alert there. One of them is Trulieve. So we'll go through this here. Curaleaf that was ranked number one. Curaleaf is currently the largest MJ company in the world by revenue, making it a strong candidate for blue chip status. I would have to agree. It's my second biggest holding in my MJ portfolio. If you haven't seen my MJ portfolio 2024 update with percentage breakdown, I go over my entire holdings and the weightings percentage-wise. And then I also recently added a few more as well. So I'll do another update maybe in a couple. I'll probably try to do like an MJ portfolio update once every quarter or two. So, maybe 2 or 4 times a year. But I did add, if you go to that video, you can see what I hold. But I did make some subtractions and additions. I did add VFF, I added Cron, and I think that was the only ones that I added. But I'll have to do another video soon. Green Thumb was second on the list. So Green Thumb Industries is another top player in the MJ industry with a strong focus on profitability and cash flow from operations. And let's see if they take some of that cash and potentially merge with Boston Beer. So Cresco Labs came in at third, and Michigan has been, they actually surpassed California as the most products sold. That's like 30-some million versus 10 million in Michigan, which is crazy to think of. But Cresco, big beneficiary of that market as well. But Cresco Labs has been expanding its MJ portfolio and forming strategic partnerships, positioning itself for blue chip status. Potential blue chip status. Trulieve MJ has a strong presence in Florida medical MJ market, and it has been expanding its operations. And as we know, a new Fox Business poll said that it could potentially be approved this time around. We're seeing momentum building, and 66% of respondents said that they would vote in favor of doing it. So I think, if I were to put a number on it, I would say it's an 80+% chance that we're going to get Florida approving Amendment 3 and adult use for adults over 21 and older. So I do think that that's pretty much a done deal as well. Same thing with rescheduling. Next on the list, number 5, we have Tilray Brands. Tilray Brands has been diversifying its business into beer and beverage industry, which could help it achieve blue chip status. So again, Green Thumb kind of following in the footsteps of Tilray. And if you look at Curaleaf, they just acquired Northern Green Canada, so they're essentially now a Canadian operator as well. So MSOs becoming LPs, LPs becoming MSOs. And they have a very strong footprint in Germany and internationally. So Curaleaf, very similar to Tilray. And then Green Thumb trying to follow Tilray's footsteps and get into the beer and beverage industry. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like Tilray, it seems like everybody wants to be like Tilray because a lot of companies in the U.S. are kind of following their business model. So I do think, though, Tilray Brands is very diversified. And, I think they operate in like 20-some countries. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think number 1 is Tilray long term. That's just my own personal opinion. But let me know, like I said, in the conversation. We'll continue the conversation in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Next on the list, I think this will turn some heads. Aurora MJ. So Aurora has a wide range of products and a strong presence in the Canadian market. I don't know. I think like the information that it's pulling is probably outdated because they've actually been dropping in market share here in Canada. They're focusing a lot on international and medical markets. I do have a very, very small position in Aurora, like 1 or 2% of my entire MJ portfolio, and my capital is in Aurora. But I think it's a strong rebound candidate, and I bought it really cheap. And I just bought it for the first time this year, and I bought it super cheap. So it's worth the risk in my opinion. And like I said, I kind of like the fact that they're diversified into medical, and they're kind of trying to focus on that niche, right? So companies now are trying to diversify and not so much diversify, trying to differentiate themselves. And I think that could be a strong bet long term. But, maybe I would remove them. I was surprised that Organigram wasn't on the list, but you never know. Maybe Organigram gets acquired. Maybe even Aurora gets acquired. Maybe even number 7 on the list here is Kronos Group. Maybe they get acquired as well. But Kronos Group has a strong cash buffer and is focusing on cost cutting, which could help it achieve blue chip status. So there are a few MJ companies that have the potential to reach blue chip status. However, the MJ industry is still relatively young and volatile, and the path to blue chip status is not guaranteed for any company. So got to do the disclaimer there from Grok. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. Like I said, I own every single one except for Trulieve, but I do own it through MSOS ETF indirectly, and I'm quite happy with that big weighting that they have in MSOS and the exposure to that. Other than that, I own everything else. On this list, the only thing I disagree with is maybe I would remove Aurora and add OGI. But let me know if you, like I said, if you own these stocks, if there's names that you're looking to add. If you agree with this, disagree with it, always love hearing from you, but I thought it was an interesting exercise to have here on a Monday morning. So happy Monday. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Can't wait to see the comments on this one, and we'll continue the conversation in the comment section below. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.